Good morning, everyone. I'm on my way to work and I wanted to go ahead and record this video. So as you can see by the title, this is when I really started learning to, last year I learned to start being a little bit more silent, not being as vocal about what God was telling me, and I'm going to share obviously why. Okay, so the first reason is that sometimes people are so used to who you used to be, or they know your flaws, so they look at it as how can God possibly do this or use you for that. Like some people will not believe it. The Bible does say that a prophet is without honor in his own home. There are times that people that knew you from before you started giving your life to Christ, or even people that know you even after that, and they know the flaws that you have or that God is still working out in your life, they're like, I don't know if God could really use you. I don't know if God told you that he would use you that way, or whatever, or sometimes they're unbelievers, or their faith is they say they believe in God, but they believe to where it's like he's sitting high type of thing. He doesn't interact with us type of thing. Okay. Number two, sometimes when you're believing God for something, that person's faith may not be where your faith is. They might not be able to meet you where your faith level is. Their faith level may be lower than yours. So you would need someone that can match your faith or have a greater faith. And you can always tell people whose faith does not match it, but just protect your mind and your heart, that because there could be seeds of doubt that are planted. Their doubt can come onto you, and then you get into a place of unbelief for the very thing that you were believing God for. So you definitely want to cover yourself if you are going to share it. Number three is that sometimes people are, they become so familiar with how God has done it, or they relate what God is telling you to their experience. So what does that mean? Basically, you'll say, well, this is not how God did it for me, or I don't think God would do it that way. But we sometimes forget that God is the God of a new thing. In his word, whether Old Testament or New Testament, he shows us that he's able to do a new thing, that everything is he's not going to do it the same way every time. Whether in the Old Testament, whether he'll use a donkey one day, or he'll minister where someone is sleeping on a rock as a pillow. He's not going to always do it the same way. And then you have Jesus, who every time that he interacted with someone or healed someone or performed a miracle, whether it was turning water into wine, he didn't do them all the same. Like, they were all different. So how God did it for someone is not going to be how God does it for you. So just because your story doesn't look like how he did it for someone else, it shouldn't discourage you, from believing him to do it for you. And then lastly, but not the least, God can tell you stuff, but not everything that God tells you he wants you to share. What do I mean by this? Okay, if you read Revelations, where God is revealing to John what's to come, you will notice that at one point he will tell John to shut the book. Because what you're about to see, I don't want you to write it down. And God has a reason for why not everything that he tells us he wants us to share. Only God really knows the reason, and sometimes we will realize it as time goes on why he didn't want us to share it. But there are times where God will tell you something and he's not telling you to share it with anybody. He's not telling you to reveal it, and we need to bear that in mind, that not everything that God says to us we're going to go share, or we have to run and go share that word. Alrighty, so I just wanted to share that those have been my lessons. Sometimes, people will say stuff and it's like, this is not in line with what I'm believing God for. And that type of stuff can dwindle at your faith. And we need to protect our hearts, our minds, and what God is telling us. The promises. It's like when they say, when you're pregnant, and you're about to give birth to that baby, not everyone can be in that delivery room, you know. So it's just like that. Hold on to those promises. Not everyone can be in that, you know, everyone needs to be in on it, because not you need to protect that baby. You need to protect that promise. Alrighty, so God bless you all. I hope this encouraged you.